Welcome back to the deep dive. We're going to be diving into Google Chronicle.
Using Python.
Yeah, automating Google security operations, all with the magic of Python and APIs.
Oh.
We've got a stack of Google Cloud community blog posts
Oh, yeah, those are great.
to guide us, real-world examples, technical deep dives.
Definitely.
Should be fun. Ready to jump in?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Okay, so picture this. You're drowning in security alerts.
Happens all the time.
99 of them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 99. Not some made-up scenario. This is ripped straight from the blog post, right?
Yeah, I remember that.
Instead of like manually grinding through each alert, the author's like, hold my keyboard. I'm about to save you a ton of time.
Right. Automation is key.
Uses a Python script, connects to the Google Security Operations API. Boom. All alerts closed. Just like that.
So much time saved.
Hours, potentially every single week. Think what you could do at that time, right?
Exactly. It's not just about speed, though.
True.
It's about working smarter, not just harder.
100%. And this is like scratching the surface.
Oh, yeah. There's so much more.
These blog posts go deep, talking about reference lists, interacting with Google security operations in ways I never even thought of.
Right. It's amazing what you can do.
Reference lists, though. For those who haven't encountered those before, what are we talking about here?
Think of it like your own personalized database of all the shady stuff.
Okay.
IP addresses, file hashes, bad domains, whatever you need to keep an eye on.
Gotcha.
That's a reference list. And with Python and the API, you can automate all of it.
Really?
Creating them, updating them, the whole shebang.
Always up to date. All tailored to your specific threats. That's incredible. Like having a custom security system constantly evolving.
Exactly. And speaking of evolving threats, how do these platforms even detect them in the first place? It's mind-blowing when you think about it.
It does feel like magic sometimes.
Right. It's all about YARL detection rules.
YARL. There's a term I haven't heard in a while.
It's cool stuff. Basically, code that acts like a recipe for threat detection.
Okay.
You define what bad behavior looks like,
Right.
and the platform uses that to sniff out threats in real time.
So we're talking about going from automating boring tasks to writing code that actually catches the bad guys.
Yeah. And the best part is, these blog posts break down how to do it. They even walk you through simulating a cyber attack.
Wait, really? They show you how to do that?
Yeah. Simulate a login from a known bad IP address.
That's amazing.
And then you get to see Google security operations in action.
See how it responds in a real-world scenario. That's incredible. But it's not just about catching the attack, is it? It's about understanding what happened, right?
That's where things get really interesting. Context is key, and that's where contextual enrichment comes in.
Okay, contextual enrichment. I'm intrigued. Break that down for me.
So imagine this. Alarm bells, right? Intrusion detected. You see a malicious login attempt from some IP address. Helpful, but...
But that's just one tiny piece of the...
Exactly. Contextual enrichment is like turning on the high-definition security cameras.
Okay.
Suddenly, that IP address, you see its location. Maybe it's tied to a known hacker group. You see its rap sheet, basically.
What?
You go from a blurry snapshot to a full-blown investigation.
So it's like the platform is doing the detective work for you.
Exactly. Connecting the dots, giving you the who, the what, and the why of the attack. And this plays a huge role in another powerful feature, user entity and behavior analytics, or UEBA.
UEBA. We're going to dive into that, right?
Oh, absolutely. We're just getting started.
UEBA, right. So how does that fit into this whole picture? We're talking about contextual enrichment.
So UEBA, it takes that idea of context and it zooms in on user behavior. Imagine you're a security guard, right? You see someone trying a bunch of different keys on a door. Kind of sets off alarm bells.
Yeah, definitely suspicious.
Right. UEBA is like having a whole team of those security guards, but they're watching everything, all your digital doors.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this all connects.
Multiple failed logins, weird locations, stuff like that.
But before we go too far down that road, can we circle back to the Python scripts for a second? Like, how do they actually work with the API?
Sure. So remember reference lists.
Yeah, like our own threat intel databases.
All right. One of the blog posts shows you how to use Python to create one. And this is where the API calls come in.
Instead of doing it manually.
Exactly. Way faster, way less error prone. You're basically speaking the API's language with code.
Interesting. So we can tell it what to do, pull in data, all that.
Like the author pulls in data from abuse IPDB.
That's the IP address blacklist, right?
Yep. They even give you the code to grab that data and feed it straight into your reference list.
So it's always up to date. That's amazing.
Exactly. Keeps everything in sync. And speaking of keeping things in sync, they also talk about handling concurrent updates. That's when Like multiple people are trying to edit a list at the same time.
Oh, yeah, that could get messy.
Right. So they built in this retry mechanism with something called exponential backoff and jitter.
Okay, I gotta be honest, that sounds a little intimidating, even for this deep dive.
It's simpler than it sounds. Basically, if two people try to change something at the same time, the script's like, hold up, let me sort this out. It retries the update after a short delay, and each time it fails, the delay gets a bit longer, preventing any crashes. And the jitter part, it just adds a tiny bit of randomness so everything doesn't retry at the exact same time.
So it's like a polite traffic jam, basically.
Yeah.
Everyone gets where they need to go eventually.
Yeah, exactly. Prevents crashes, keeps the data clean. It's those little details that make automation so powerful and reliable, especially in security.
Makes sense. It's like, yeah, we want to automate, but we don't want to create a whole new set of problems.
Exactly. And you can tell the author really thought about all of this stuff. They don't just throw code at you, they explain why they made certain choices.
Yeah, that context is super helpful. But before we get lost in the code, I think it's important to remember that all of this is in service of a bigger goal, right?
Totally.
Like, we can geek out over the technical stuff, but it's got to have a purpose, right?
Absolutely. It's about that bigger picture, building a stronger security posture.
And these blog posts, they really hit on that, like freeing up our time and resources. Remember those 99 alerts?
Oh, yeah?
Imagine doing that manually. Talk about a time sink.
You'd get nothing else done.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But automate it. Boom. Suddenly you've got time to actually think to get ahead of the curve instead of always playing catch up.
Exactly. And that's where it gets really powerful. You start thinking about improved threat detection. We talked about YARA, right?
Yeah, those threat detection recipes.
Right. Now imagine combining that with automation. Like you get new threat intel, instantly updates your defenses.
No more waiting, no more manual updates. It's just there.
Exactly. Real-time threat intelligence combined with automation means you're catching threats faster than ever before.
And in security, speed is key.
Absolutely. Every minute counts.
Totally. But you know what really struck me about all of this? It's not just about the tech, it's about the people.
Oh, absolutely. It's about empowering security professionals.
Giving them the tools to work smarter, not harder. And Python, it's like the Swiss Army knife of security automation.
Right. It's versatile, it's powerful, and honestly, it's not that hard to learn.
Exactly. So as we wrap up our deep dive into Google security operations, any final thoughts for our listeners?
Don't be afraid of automation. It's not about replacing anyone. It's about making everyone's jobs easier and more effective.
Couldn't agree more. And Python, it's your friend. Don't be intimidated. Dive in, experiment. You might be surprised what you can achieve.
Exactly.
Well said. That's it for this deep dive into Google security operations. Thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you next time for another exciting exploration.